All right, welcome to Book Club. I'm Dylan at a sit-down with my Irish rival. Keith, what's up? Frenemy?
You say brethren, but now, the rivalry's begun. About to light this city on fire. Okay, here we go.
In classic fashion, before I get down to anything, I do have to say something. My dad, he did the 23andMe thing, which I told him not to. I was like, look, don't put us in the system. My dad is a first-generation Italian. Both his parents came over, whatever the case is. So he identifies a lot with his Italian roots. So does the rest of his family. It's a big family. He's the youngest of 9. Whatever. He took the 23andMe. Turns out he's like 40% Albanian. He was so mad. He was so butthurt about it. And
I know. That's why I'm not taking it, because I'm 100% Irish and I won't have any test tell me otherwise.
We're not talking about 23andMe. Here at the Buddy Book Club, we're breaking down some bestsellers. And this week we'll be discussing City on Fire, a novel by Don Winslow. If you'd like to recommend a book for us to read or reach out to us about any past episodes, you can visit our website, buddybookclub.com, slide into our DMs on Twitter or Instagram, Buddy Book Club Podcast. Listen to us iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get podcasts, so please download. Give us a review. I looked today because I was interested, and I never do this. We had 17 reviews, and I assume 16 of those are friends and family. So I just want to get to 20. Can we get to 20? That would be super sweet. So if you're out there and you listened and you haven't given a review, just take a quick break, go on there, 5 stars, let us know what the deal is. We love that. So just 3 more. That's all I'm asking. Keith, City on Fire, first book in the Danny Ryan trilogy. It's a 4-1 on Goodreads. You've read Don Winslow before, right? Oh, Power of the Dog, because I suggested it.
Yeah, you recommended it to me.
Yeah. Okay. And I never even finished it.
It was a good book. What'd you think of it? And you're like, I've never even read that. I was like, how'd you recommend it to me, though? And you're like, yeah, that's right. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it was a recommendation from my buddy Bernie, who loves to read, and I love that about him. And if I recommend a book, he'll read it, including Shogun, which, like, if someone actually reads Shogun...
That's a big ask.
Yeah. I'm just proud of you, just for the fact that you even tried. He's a huge Don Winslow fan. He recommended that, and he recommended this. I didn't even realize I had read a Don Winslow book, The Death and Life of Bobby Z, which is a standalone story. The other ones are part of trilogies, but I liked it. I mean, the guy's written like 25 books, so you probably have
he bangs them
run
out.
into him at some point if you're reading. Here we're talking City on Fire. Keith, stock up, stock down. Stock up, what do you got?
Yeah, stock up. Seinfeld's Soulmate episode.
I'm not familiar with that.
I don't know if there is some creative
homage.
Inspiration.
Yeah.
An homage. Yeah, this book is just the Seinfeld episode. I don't know if you've seen that one.
I haven't. It's a very interesting Seinfeld episode.
It's called The Soulmate Ones. It's where Jerry is dating a girl named Pam.
Oh.
And Kramer is in love with her. And it creates this big feud between them. The episode ends. Nothing really happens, as in most Seinfeld episodes. But the infatuation with Pam is what really created this whole drama. That someone said that she was supposed to be Helena Troy.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, I guess, now that I think about it. But at the time, when I first read that, I was like, there's no, like, homage to that. I'm like, oh, I guess that's exactly that. But yeah, so was the Seinfeld episode. And so there is all that big connection between those things. But yeah, stock up. Seinfeld's only episode. That was a far-fetched one. I apologize already for that.
That's all right. I always find it interesting because I like Seinfeld as much as the next guy, not as much as you and not as much as the wife here who loves Seinfeld. But people ask, like, oh, what's your favorite episode? And do people know episode names, or I just assume they're asking? I have to sit there and explain to them what happened in the episode until they're on the same page? Because it seems like people, like Seinfeld fans, know episode names and stuff. The only one I know is The Junior Mint.
The name of the episode is just what the main point of the episode was usually. So like the Soup Nazi episode is this. It's called Soup Nazi. So you just have to like mention who's in the episode essentially, and that's the name of the episode, or people will figure it out.
Oh, okay. Got it. I did get the Helena Troy thing because he opens it with a quote from the Iliad.
Oh, all that stuff. When I hear that, is that the Bible or what is that? So it's all the same to me. It's all exactly. I'm like, Shakespeare? Like, no.
Close. My first stock up is, and this is a simple one, really, for the people out there, but clam bakes, stock up. It's the power of good food. Pasco Ferry, he hosts one every year. And it's so good, it brings the Italians and the Irish together. What's more beautiful than that? Here in beautiful Cape Cod, you can just go out into the water and pick clams off the sand like Pasco Ferry does. You know, it's I have my license. It's super easy to do. Anytime people visit, I like to take them clamming. Some people love it, some people hate it. But either way, you get a bunch of clams and you get to have a little clam bake. So I just got to stock up clam bakes anytime I can, and this gave me the opportunity.
Yeah, no, I like it. And a good barbecue in the summer, you really can't beat it. Unless the host is molesting kids, then it's a little bit tough. But other than that, it's usually pretty solid.
Yeah, that's definitely a hard part. I have a no molesting policy at my clam bakes.
So you got to make sure that's spelled out early enough.
Yeah, yeah, it signs on the door.
But you're the host, so...
well, everyone's got to abide by the rules.
You have to remind yourself. Okay, got it.
What else you have for stock up?
Oh, in the same kind of tune. Having a tight grocery list, not that tune, your clam bake one, stock up. I mean, nothing feels better to me than going to the grocery store and having that list ready to go where you know exactly what you're getting. Mm-hmm. You only have a small basket because you're just so locked in on what you're getting. It's the greatest. Oh, you don't have that?
No, a basket's never gonna work for me.
Well, I think if you have a tight 10, I like to call it. I hate going to the grocery store and being there for longer than 10 minutes. That just infuriates me. Like, I'm all about logistics. Like, okay, I'm gonna hit this, I'm gonna hit the milk, and I'm gonna hit the, so you're all like planning out your stops.
I'm a creature of habit. Oh, sorry, you're gonna get to your point, right?
Yeah, there's something to do with the book, I swear. Danny's dad's tight 10.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing. It's a 10 of a 10 list. Bacon, eggs, coffee, milk, bread, his Luckies, Bushmills, Sammy Adams, little corned beef hash, and his lotto ticket.
Yeah, scratches.
You replace the corned beef hash for me with burger meat, which I think is just more likely what I would eat. That's what I'm buying when I'm 75 every day. That's the fact of the matter. That's my list right there. So I think it's perfect, honestly.
Not one vegetable.
Even actually right now, I'm not smoking the cigarettes yet, but once I get to that point, and I'm not doing the hard Bushmills all the time, but once I get to 75, it's fine. We're doing all those things.
I love a good grocery list. Don't get me wrong. That's my number one. We usually go on Sundays. Granted, now it's nice out, so I'll usually be trying to do something sporty. The wife and I sit down, we have our coffee, we pull the flyer up.
Are you a coupon guy?
Oh, big coupon guy.
I don't hate that. And how do you say coupons, just to make sure we're on the same page?
Coupon.
There? Not coupon? Okay,
no,
thank you. Right.
Coupon. No, okay. We're a huge coupon family. I love getting a deal. Love getting a deal at the grocery store. I'm pretty much just a 75-year-old man in a 36-year-old's body. But I do the grocery list by department. So we know what we're getting. So here's the produce, here's the dairy, here's the middle aisles, and it's spread across the thing. So sometimes I'll go one way, she goes the other way. We're a tactical team.
Oh, okay, I like that.
In the middle.
Yeah. Divide and conquer.
Yeah. And shout out to my girl Maria, the best checkout person in the world. She's down here. She's my girl. My next stock up is transactional relationships. So hey, I'm all for love.
Oldest profession in the world, right?
Well, I'm not talking necessarily we'll get to that. But, right. I'm for love and relationships based on that. But if you want to marry for something else, say money, like you're talking about, or power or comfort, good for you. I'm not going to yuck your yum if that's what you're into. People get married for all sorts of reasons. But we got to talk about our girl Madeline here. She loved Marty Ryan. That's for sure. But it was like a meteor or a comet, whatever they are, shooting star, real fast and hot. But what she loved more than Marty Ryan was money, power, and comfort. I'm not going to fault her for abandoning her child because look at her now. She's got suction, no pun intended, with judges, senators, businessmen, and then she's able to use that when Danny needs her most. Well, I guess probably he needed her most in his childhood years because every kid needs a mom, but she's here now and that's what matters. Gotta just stock up to Madeline for that because she did what was right at the end of the day, and she's loaded.
Yeah, I think if she weren't loaded and she didn't have a successful career, that you'd be kind of disappointed, right? You're allowed to abandon your child. You're allowed to abandon your child as long as you're successful. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
If you abandon your child for drugs or to live in a Winnebago in New Mexico, then not your best.
If you have $800K in the bank, not enough. If you're a multi-millionaire successful, that's okay.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you can't abandon your kid.
Can threaten mobsters to their face with
I like
death.
That. All right.
Then it's okay. Yeah.
Good rules.
Okay, what do you got for stock?
Stock down having your friends stick up for you. Mm-hmm. Now, Typically, I would say I really appreciate this. I think this is one of the most important things of having a friend that has your back, someone that will stand by you, whatnot. But based on this book, I may change my tune. Everyone is making jokes at Polly's expense once Liam starts dating Pam. And they're like, yeah, like they're talking basically about how Liam's better in bed than he is, and is a real man, and better endowed, and all these things, which must be nice for Liam. No Irish curse, good for him. But then Polly's quote-unquote friends come back and tell him all these things.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Listen, that is not the friend's job to go tell them. If someone's like stealing your business or doing something that's going to affect you, yes, you want someone to come and tell you about that. When someone's talking shit behind your back about how fucking terrible you are in bed, I don't need to hear that. I already assume that in my head. I don't want someone coming and telling me that, oh yeah, your ex-girlfriend is talking about how small your pee-pee is and how terrible you are. Stock down, Evan Beale's back. I don't want to hear that shit. This is all about me, by the way, not about that book. Wait, what?
It's funny because I was telling you before we started recording that the wife read a book that we had done in an early episode and listened to that early episode and talked about how much things have changed just in the podcast between then and now, which has been like 3 years. It's wild. But she said the one thing that didn't change was Keith talking about how bad he is in bed.
We're cutting it.
Do not cut that. Do not cut that.
I'm a much quicker with the cut tool, so I've cut more of that than usual, but I'll keep that in.
Well, it's funny you say that because you also talked about how quick you were with the other tool. So, yeah, it was funny. I had a good laugh. We were sitting out in the sun yesterday, and she was telling me that. So I'm glad it's just.
And you're telling me that, so you just did what all Polly's friends did. You fucking.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It all comes full circle. If the listeners have a drinking game, there's probably like, take a sip every time Keith says something like that. My first stock down is nepotism.
Okay.
I feel like nepotism's been on the pod before, but
yeah, I don't think that's ever a stock up, but all right, go on.
Really? I feel like sometimes it's a stock up. If we were reading the George W. Bush biography, it'd be a stock up, right?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Right. I stand corrected.
So Danny marries Boss Murphy's daughter, Terry, but he doesn't get a bump in the business. He's still just the enforcer, which I never even really got his enforcer vibes. He was a collector / enforcer, but at no point did they really show him going on collections or really using his muscle. Like once it comes down to an actual gang war, then yeah, he has to like pull his gun out and use it. But he's never really like beaten people up. I'd be interested to know. I feel like Danny is also like a Mark Wahlberg type character, but at the same time, I don't even know who you'd cast him for because like, is he gonna be this like jacked up guy, enforcer vibes?
No, I think he was like the logistics smart dude. I don't think he was an enforcer.
Either way, you got to give the guy a little bit something. Like throw him some extra business. Give him a cut of the take. He has his own small crew. And so his crews like can operate freely, but at the same time, he's not getting any leadership opportunities, which is also interesting because out of the leaders, who's his best friend's name that runs it? Paulie? No, that's not Paulie. That's the Italian guy.
It's under P,
but
isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like it is. Either way, his like best friend is going to be the next boss. So why don't you kind of bring them up a little bit together, have him sort of be his like consigliere, whatever that is in the Irish situation, because Danny's obviously got his head on his shoulders. Maybe there's concern because Danny's dad used to run it, and now the Murphys took it from him, that he'll turn around and like make it a Ryan family situation again. He's smart enough to do that. So I can understand that. But at the same time, he's married to your daughter. This thing's going to continue. So give the guy some experience while the boss is still there so that he can kind of see how things go before handing it off to anyone. Nepotism, stock down.
Yeah, that makes sense too because obviously Liam is the worst person ever. And he gets the longest rope of all time because he's in the family. Who gives a shit? He's terrible. I feel like once you get to that age that they're in, the only thing that should matter, it's like if you have like a business, like it's your baby, and your son sucked, I'd rather give it to the person that is actually going to continue this business and continue to make it be profitable, and I'll get kickback ups from that, rather than give it to a person that sucks and the business just falls apart right after I leave.
Yeah, look at Fredo. You know, Fredo couldn't do shit, so they let him kind of have fun in Vegas and do whatever he could, and you know, eventually comes back to him. No spoilers there, but you have to watch The Godfather Part 2 to find out. What else do you have for Stock Down?
The name Liam Stockdown.
It's a beautiful Irish name.
Liam Neeson really did a lot for the name. He's kind of been carrying that on his back. But Liam in this book kind of ruined it. By far the worst character. I mean, I don't even have any really problem with the Italians, honestly. It was really Liam who was just the worst.
Yeah.
Just continues to be a dick. And we've had a lot of these characters as of late, it seems like. Characters that are like, I'm being overshadowed by people that are more talented and that are in my family that are maybe getting more of a priority than I am or whatnot. That's good. Don't you want your family members to do well and have success?
Especially when you're in business with them, so you're going to be profiting off of it anyways. If I was in business with my sister and she was a kick-ass CEO and just crushing it, and she was giving me little jobs because I'm an idiot, but was still paying me a good salary, I'd be jazzed.
Yeah.
I don't need any accolades. I'm all right.
Yeah. I can see, like, if your buddy is better than you at sports, and there's definitely that, like, oh, that sucks, I wish I could be that good. But at the same time, you're like, at least it's not some other fuckboy. This is my buddy. Like, this is, like, you know, at the end of the day, eventually that jealousy kind of goes away, because you're like, whatever, I know I'm not good at certain things. That's okay. That person's better, and I'm glad it's a good person. So I just don't get it, Liam. He's just constantly doing shit for no reason. It's very anti-Irish and very anti-Northeast. When someone's a dickhead and they're shitty, you call them out.
Yeah.
That's like very Northeast that you grow up doing. Like, so if someone's doing something that's bad, you can go to their face and tell them, or you can go to their dad and be like, "Yo, this guy sucks." That's the fact of the matter. Yeah, you know it, I know it. That's it. No one does that. Why not? I don't get it. Why has no one been like, Liam should not get the part of the business I should because he's terrible? Or do what the Italians do. As far as I know, the sons of families aren't made, right? They have to, like, prove themselves. They have to earn money. They have to do certain things. Otherwise, they're
you don't just
not.
Yeah.
Have the maid guy go and be like, your son's costing me money, and if he continues to do this, we're going to have a meeting about it, and something's going to have to happen.
A sit down.
Yeah, and that's going to fix that problem, right away. But no one does anything, so the Irish kind of let me down here. The Liam let me down. Fuck Liam. I also saw, when we were reading this, I saw some tweet. Do you know Oasis?
The band?
Yeah. It's like Noah and Liam Gallagher.
Okay.
And they hate each other. and that's why the band broke up.
Oh.
There was a tweet being like, okay, Noah's joining us for Ask Us Anything. Like, ask any questions you want. And Liam Gallagher responds to it being like, ask him why he's such a cunt. And I was like, that's a very Liam thing to do. So
that's so good.
Yeah. Stock down, Liam.
You got, like, the Twitter notification for his brother so that anytime it comes up, he just can shit on him. Interesting enough, my next stock down is Irish gangsters. So I have to apologize to the Peaky Blinders and Jack Nicholson's character in The Departed. He's Irish, right? Yeah. Right?
I don't think Peaky Blinders are Irish, but okay.
Peaky Blinders
but I
are
appreciate
Irish? Yeah, they are.
No, they're not. I think they're from Wales.
What's the difference? Oh, I don't know. They all sound the same, right? Either way, the Murphys kind of...
That's one of the worst things I've ever said.
The Murphys kind of seem like, I don't know, like the Savannah Bananas playing against the MLB team. Yes, they have some characters and can swing a bat, but they're outmatched against the Italians, you know, who are probably like the Yankees in this analogy. So even when Danny has his, like, quote unquote smart plan to pretend he's Liam, to do the hit or whatever, to turn the hit around, like, they fuck that up. And Danny almost ends up dying. And for that hit, they went overseas and pulled an IRA guy who, at this point, this is like the late 80s or something like that. So at this point, Belfast is a war zone. So the IRA guys, bullets flying, no problem. That's just a day in the life. Like, they're firing their weapons at other people enough that the heart is not going crazy, a pitter patter, like it would be for Danny, who's never even used his gun. But the IRA guy pulls out immediately in the drive-by, like, pulls out his gun, his head explodes. This guy's fucking useless. So there might be more than one Irish curse because they kind of stink. And it's the IRA guy that screws up. So every time they have a plan, it just seemed like it would fall through. Obviously, at the end, Danny concocts a very smart plan that he's able to be successful with, and is able to piece the different things together as to like who's doing what and why. But at every time Danny tries to do something positive in the book to move the family forward, someone comes in and screws it up and moves them backwards. More often than not, it's the aforementioned Liam.
Yeah, and then he never gets like a pat on the back. I also wanted to correct to make sure it's Birmingham. Birmingham, that's where they're from. Birmingham, England. So they're in England, but...
Isn't it the same, though? Aren't they all connected?
No, there's 2 islands.
What is an island? What does that even mean? So it's an island, but the Brits have the best navy. So they're basically turning water into land because their navy's so good. So they're pretty much the same thing.
That's my kind of logic, so I can't refute it. I'll give you that. I'll give it to you.
Do you have any other stuck down?
No.
Yeah, just a quick one. Helena Troy stuck down. Like, Pam's beautiful, that's for sure, but her name's Pam. Is Pam really someone that we're going to decide to start a war over, especially with the Italians?
Helen's, though, by itself is not a great name.
Yeah, no, for sure not. But maybe it was 4,000 years ago or whatever.
I also thought it was Helena forever.
Oh.
It's not Helena.
It ain't.
That'd be a cool name. Helena sounds like an exotic name.
It sounds like a Viking name. Like, I feel like a Helena has long braids and wears a Viking helmet. Also, the Pam storyline, when it went back to her youth and whatnot, was a little interesting interlude into the story. All of a sudden, it goes back and like explains Pam's waspy background. I guess it does give a little bit of info as to why she would be with Liam, because she is a little bit nutso, but
she sucked too.
Yeah, it just didn't make a ton of sense. Did you have a scene you wanted to call a favorite scene, perhaps?
I did think when Liam came into the bar and he said he married Pam.
Was it even a bar? Wasn't it a funeral?
Oh, I assume it was an Irish bar, funeral.
Oh, gotcha.
So they're at a bar. I mean, you've seen The Wire, kid. Come on.
Yeah.
That's kind of like when the rags to riches story changes or whatever, where you're like, things are all going good, and then all of a sudden something flips, and that's where everything goes downhill. That's where you knew that was like the defining, like, okay, now things are never going to go back to where they could possibly have been. So again, Liam in the center of that, being a complete selfish piece of shit. If you're going to marry someone, fine, just leave. I don't think it would have been an issue if he just upped up and moved to California, which they talk about doing all the time, at least Danny does. No one really would care, but instead he has to stay around and kind of continue to flaunt it. And
yeah, talking about how dumb the Irish are too. His dad immediately is like, well, my new daughter-in-law. It's like, no, you're saying, all right, you guys are cut off. You should probably move to like Florida or somewhere else away from the Italians because they're going to kill you. And because his dad basically says, we're going to war for you, which I guess is what happens in the Iliad. They're like, all right, cool, Paris, you want to marry Helen, so now we have to
I will say, since you are attacking the Irish so much here, I'm allowed to attack them. You're not to. The Italians are so thin-skinned. It's money. Who cares? You can't take a couple insults, can't take a couple jabs.
It's money? He stole his girl.
They're messing the money. So
you don't do
money.
that.
All they care about is money, the Italians. That's what they said. So what are we talking about here?
We have clam bakes. Did you not pay attention to the first couple of chapters? What?
Yeah, clams, money. That's what I assume. You're
nice.
Hey. How many fish are there in the sea? Keep it the water analogy here. You can't find one other girl like that?
There's a lot of fish in the sea, but if you fuck the fish that I fucked, then, we have
He was dating for like 2 weeks.
It doesn't matter. Coitus has been coited.
You guys are so thin-skinned. I can't have someone else dating that girl I was dating. Get over yourself, D-man.
You talking shit? You want me to come out there? You want me to call up to New York, get my muscle?
Yeah, I know you would because you're so sensitive over there. You and the Italians.
My favorite-ish scene, I guess, is really just the end. I thought how Danny constructed that plan was pretty well done, and I didn't necessarily see the moving parts, so it was fun to watch those unfold with, the FBI agent trying to backstab the Italians a little bit, and the Italians backstabbing the Irish, and then Danny coming in and getting the heroin, and then also being able to get out of there.
Well, pretty lucky they just decided not to arrest him. They're like, let's wait till his wife dies. I was like, oh, okay, that seems like a pretty good loophole.
Yeah. I also loved, and we'll just jump into to pick a character. I loved his dad's right-hand man.
Oh, yeah.
I forget what his name was.
He is straight out of, The Town. You're a guy with a fucked up face. His right-hand man. Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking of the whole time. The guy with the shotgun that just sat next to him all day and didn't say anything.
Yeah. I respected it. And it's like a good story about how his dad kind of like pulled him up and like put him under his wing. And now he just won't do anything that involves not taking care of the dad. It's great.
What's his right-hand man eating? That's my question.
It was like Bobby Bacala to Junior.
I don't know what that is.
The Sopranos. Bobby. It's the one that becomes Tony's brother-in-law. He ended up marrying Janice. Yeah. I like that. Did you have a character that you wanted to call out, or you just want to talk hate about Liam?
I liked his wife, Terry. I appreciated her kind of being a little fiery, and she also stood up for Danny a lot. She's like, you should go ask for this stuff, go over this stuff. She never really did anything against her dad, but
that's the worst part, though. Be like, hey, Dad, you gotta start kicking Danny some more business. We're trying to start a family over here. Like, things are...
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Plus, they wasn't working, them trying to have a baby. So it's like, hey, we don't know what kind of costs are going to be associated with this IVF treatment. Like, that's something that we're going to be looking into. You got to help out. Terry almost had what Janice was doing to Bobby in The Sopranos, where it's like, you got to ask to be a cop or get more points on this, that, or the other thing. Like, you got to get more jobs. Bobby's like, just chill out. Like, let me run my own business, take care of things. She's like, oh, Tony's calling you an idiot. Like, look at this, look at that. It's like, chill. I'm not saying Terry got what she deserved or anything, but...
I mean, it sounds like you're saying that. Jeez.
All right, let's get into some loves, hate. Keith, what did you love about City on Fire?
I thought the book flew by. It felt like a nonfiction book. It just felt very, very real. I've referenced Goodfellas a lot on this pod, and this book was probably the closest we've actually come to some sort of Goodfellas type. And Goodfellas to me is the peak mobster movie. Sorry to Godfather and Sopranos there, D-Man.
Well, Sopranos is not a movie, but I understand what you're saying.
But I felt like this was listening kind of like Henry Hill kind of narrate. All I wanted to be was a gangster, type of thing. So I loved it. Anytime I turned it back on, I just imagined I was back in that world. It was really good.
I think there's a reason why so many of his books end up getting optioned out. And even one of the books he made has your boy Taylor Kitsch in it. And he wrote the script for it, too. Savages.
Oh, wow.
Savages. I don't know what that's about. And I just said Savages twice, like it was a Pocahontas. Savages. Disney movie reference, any of there for you guys? I think the reason why is because he writes these so cinematically that people who read them immediately can see it happen as a movie. Because I could see it in my head, and normally I'm not very good at that. Actually, funny story, I think I read it on like Wikipedia or something like that, but one of his books that got optioned was actually supposed to be a De Niro Scorsese movie. And so it was like, oh, this is awesome. He started writing the screenplay for it or whatever the thing was. And then during the like pre-production, like way before the movie is actually going to get made, someone handed De Niro a book. And De Niro liked it so much, he told Scorsese they should do that instead. And that's what became of The Irishman. So they didn't do Don Winslow's and instead did The Irishman.
Wow, they should have done that instead because that movie sucked. But anyways.
It was just a little long. Yeah, it was a bit too much.
It was Goodfellas Jr., but them all 20 years too old and the same movie, the same plot.
I loved the fact that it was like cinematic. It was, like you said, it was a super quick read. Overall, it never loses its pace. Although the side story, I think, into like Danny's mom kind of took me for a loop when it first started because Danny got shot. It was like, oh crap, what happened? And then all of a sudden, it's this long story about his mom and what she's been doing for the last 30 years. Not that I didn't like it. It was just, I don't know if I was ready for it at that time. What else you got?
It was kind of very Shakespearean in terms of like interfamily drama. I think the characters were really, really well delved into, even though like the side characters you got, like you mentioned, their background, you had like almost chapters on side characters that you kind of just, but yeah, I found it all enthralling. I also did remind me, I don't know if you've ever heard of this show, The Black Donnellys. Have you ever heard of that? Back in 2000. I used to watch this show and it's pretty much the exact same plot. 4 like Irish brothers that are part of the Irish mob in New York City going against the Italian mob in New York City. They're like good. Black Irish. I think it was like one season. I liked it. It was back in 2007, but it starred Olivia Wilde, or she was like basically the Pam of it.
Oh, Interesting. Yeah, and in general, talk about things I loved about it and being into that kind of thing. Mob stuff. I love mob stuff. I don't think we've read any mob books. Call me a knuckle dragger, whatever you want, but if you base a movie or a book around a bunch of gangsters, I'm going to be in. Whether it's going to be awesome or not, we'll see. Talk about Whitey Bulger, like Black Mass. I didn't think that movie was very good, but I enjoyed it. So anytime there's mobs, gangsters, the Irishman and the Peaky Blinders, I'm in for it. What'd you hate about City on Fire?
Similar to the other Don Winslow book I read, It is so well written and the characters are really well fleshed out, but I kind of just immediately forgot what happened once I got done. I was like, that was really good. You had to be like, hey, summarize what happened in a paragraph. I'd be like, a lot of stuff happened, but like there's no major plot points or like huge action sequences, which is good. It's fine. It's just different than like what I would say is the standard, Red Rising 2 we're about to read. There is clear this happens and then this happens, and then, there's like these really good tentpole portions of the book imagine in your head as a movie. This book I'm like already forgetting how you would like write a script for. So that's just, it's different, but that's like the one thing I would say it's not the typical what we would see.
No, I get that. And I'm okay with that when it comes to books like this. Same with like The Life and Death of Bobby Z, the other Don Winslow book I read. I saw that as like, oh, a Don Winslow book. He wrote that? I was like, oh, that's crazy. And then I thought in my head, what was that book about? I'm like, I have no idea. It involves the Mexican drug cartel or something like that. But this is why it is such a good beach read, because it's a casual read. You're on vacation, you pick it up. It's whatever you're reading is entertaining. It's like any good TV show or movie that you've seen, where if you walk into a room and someone's in the middle of it, you're not going to walk in the other room. You're going to sit down and watch a couple scenes because it's just entertaining. It hit for me there. My hate was our boy Liam. Did he remind you of anybody from TV?
I hope not.
From TV?
Oh, from TV.
Specifically The Wire?
Uh-huh.
He's Ziggy. He's Ziggy to me.
Oh,
like, he's totally Ziggy in The Wire. I mean, he's not being an idiot and flashing money in places he shouldn't, but it's just like he cannot get out of his own way. He feels like he deserves something that he didn't earn, and instead rebels in how he knows. Ziggy ends up shooting somebody. Liam, on the other hand, just has sex with somebody he shouldn't.
Well, I think he has Ziggy's like mentality for some reason, but realistically he's kind of cock of the walk, right? He's getting the hottest girls. He's kind of like a charmer, where Ziggy was the opposite. His self-pity and all that stuff was kind of justified because people made fun of him. Everything was like, he was kind of like the loser, right? Whereas that's not what Liam is, so that makes him like even worse character.
They both shared a massive endowment, if you know what I'm talking about, though. But speaking of The Wire, remember last time I said I wanted to ask you about something and I couldn't remember what it was? I remember, and it was involving The Wire. So you've gone on record saying that one of the things you hate most about The Sopranos is Tony eating all the time and like his slobbish style when he's eating. Mm-hmm. Well, as someone that just finished The Wire, what say you about Jay's eating habits? The sergeant?
I don't like that. No, who that reminds me of is he looks like John Cena, and mannerisms are all the John Cena's. But if he didn't get into wrestling and it wasn't in super good shape,
and he just decided to only eat cold cuts all the time.
Yeah,
and we're on to season 3 now. We're in season 1. He's eating a sub, and he's legitimately just like shoving the whole thing into his face that he can't even chew fast enough. It's falling all over him. It's worse than any Tony Soprano eating moment, except for the breathing.
Well, the reason they don't eat usually in TV shows is because they have to do like 20 takes. So you can't be eating a sub for 20 takes. But apparently, I don't know.
I was watching a Wire documentary. Jay started out as 145 pounds. And it was only through eating all the subs that he become the 300-pound man. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, okay. I was like, what? Imagine it'd be like a lawsuit.
If you said 250, I would have been like, oh, and then you went up to 350. I was like, yeah, that's pretty reasonable. You started at 140. I was like, okay, dude,
yeah.
Come on.
He's just so gross in that show, between like casually reading titty magazines as he's eating lunch. It's just whatever. But he's got a good heart. So we actually had Dr. Marshall Runge, who we've interviewed before his book Coded to Kill. He's so nice. He sent us an email.
You've got mail.
About his book, obviously not about this book. That would be awesome. He's like, have you guys read City on Fire? Do you know how big Liam's hog is? But no, he sent us an email from a Washington Post article, Cyber Attack Hack Hospital Ascension. Basically, that's what his story is about cyber attacks on health systems. That's what Coded to Kill is.
Yeah, and I saw this before he sent it to us.
You did?
I was hearing about this, yeah.
You just reading WAPO? That will help for our listeners that think you hate WAPO.
No, I think our healthcare provider sent us an email about the hack. So I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, isn't this what we read about? So,
well, according to Dr. Marshall Runge, the news story that burst onto the scene about Ascension Health. So someone hacked into it and pretty much disabled Ascension's EMR system, which is talked about in length in the book. So the guy knows what he's talking about. He's out of Michigan, University of Michigan. The only one that makes more than him at the school was Jim Harbaugh. Which one?
Jim.
Why? Who names their two kids Jim and John? Like, figure that out.
Johnny.
Terrible. So yeah, that was our listener mail. Thanks to Dr. Marshall Runge. I hope he's enjoying the barbecue, because we had a nice conversation about barbecue. Lingering questions for City on Fire?
I guess this is probably going to cover it because he has books 2 and 3, but he just killed a federal agent, right? Isn't he just like done now? Like what happens after that? Well, I guess he's crooked, but they don't know that. Like if the FBI knew he was crooked, then he wouldn't have a job.
Yeah, well, I got City of Dreams, the next book, sitting on my wait list for on Libby. It's another 8-hour book. The weather's nice. I got a lot of stuff to do. I'm gonna crush this, so I'll come back and I'll let you know. I didn't cast anyone for the movie, but the rights are bought, and it looks like Austin Butler is going to be playing Danny.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, looks like Austin Butler is going to be playing Danny. It's going to be a TV series, probably like a mini series or something like that.
Like an HBO thing or something? That's cool. I like it.
Yeah, so it should be pretty cool. It said Austin Butler was cast, so who else would Austin Butler be besides Danny, right?
Yeah, I was thinking Margot Robbie for Pam, so make it easy.
Yeah, she'd have to. Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of situation.
Yeah.
Do you have anyone else?
I just threw some names in there that I think would obviously make sense. I think Colin Farrell for maybe his dad if he had a bigger role. Obviously, good Irish.
Yeah, Colin Farrell could also play the right-hand man or whoever, like, because he's like a big muscle guy too, not in terms of like jacked, but in terms of he's the guy that they go to.
I like Ben Foster a lot. He's from Massachusetts. I feel like he's not in a lot of stuff, or he should be in a lot more things. So Yuma to
310 to Yuma. Love that movie. Yeah, I know the guy you're talking about.
Yeah, throw them in there. I think on the Italian side, John Berthenol, Adam Driver, throw them in there. Make it interesting. Get an all-star cast. What about you?
Grab every single Italian guy that's in all the other ones, and like it'll work. City on Fire, Keith, would you recommend it to listeners?
Yeah, I think you nailed it with it's a good beach read. You're going to enjoy it for sure. I think the characters are great. I would definitely recommend it. And I think we always say, would we read the second one? You already kind of answered that question. And I think I would too. I don't think I would go out of my way and put it at the top of the list, but I would definitely, similar to what the Power of the Dog one. I got done, and I didn't do those additional ones, and I was like, not right now, but I definitely could see myself reading them again in the future. So similar mindset.
Yeah, Power of the Dog's a little bit longer. I feel like twice as long.
This is a bit more manageable.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's 8 hours, quick read, good beach read. If you saw it on someone's shelf, grab it. I agree with you on the part 2 in that I only just looked to see if it was on Libby because I was like, maybe it'll be available, but I'm not like super jazzed to get into it. I'll be interested, but I'm not super excited. Whereas I'm currently reading Red Rising because we're going to do Golden Sun in our next one. And just like when I read Harry Potter books, I have to now go back and reread the first one, even though I've already read it twice. And like, my God, this book is so fucking good. It's a gory damn good time. It's prime. And I'm almost done with Red Rising and I need to read Golden Sun. I need it in my bones.
I love it.
So that's the difference.
Yeah, so that's what we got next. Golden Sun, book 2. We've already read book 1 on the pod, so we're getting back to it. I think, I'm going to throw this out there, and you can throw it right back if you don't like it, but I think we just go to the third one and then close it out. That's what I'm kind of feeling.
Yeah, I have very good memories of what happens in Red Rising. I have okay memories of Golden Sun, and I have
I don't remember anything for the third
no
one,
memories of Morning Star. So yeah, I'm all in. I love it. If you guys haven't read Red Rising, you should do that for yourself and your future self, because the book is so freaking good. Caroline actually asked me today, she's like, is it better than Shogun? I had like a dizzying moment. Like I almost fainted because it's a different book, but maybe, you know what I mean? Like to me, it's close to HP levels. It's not obviously HP,
agreed.
but it hits so well. It's exactly what you need. It's such a fun ride. So if you haven't read Red Rising, check it out. And if you don't want to check it out, but want to check out Golden Sun, you can listen to the podcast where we have our good buddy Miko on it, and we talk about it. I think it was like the first book he had read in like 4 years, and I'm pretty sure he loved it. Although I don't know how much of the book we actually cover, because we're probably just gushing about all sorts of different random stuff. Golden Sun coming up next, and we'll probably have that out next week.
I like it.
All right, bye now.
Bye now.